welcome to the Black Link Experience. I'm your host, Marva B, and we are so excited to be here. So we just want to jump right in and welcome Delite to the Black Link Experience. Delite, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Marva.
Yes, thank you for being here. Go ahead and tell the world who you are and what you do.
Most people call me Delite. My tag name, I guess, is TheSlowJamKing. I'm responsible for a lot of the 90s, early 2000s R&B and hip hop records, a lot of slow jams. Probably got a lot of people in trouble.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. Well, good to have you here. I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man, so I appreciate you. So let's just get right into the interview. So I just want to start with your childhood and growing up, and what was it that brought you to music, if you want to go ahead and tell us that.
My grandfather. My grandfather is a musician himself. May he rest in peace. But my grandfather was a trumpet player. He did a lot of Latin music. He did horn arrangements for a lot of big Latin artists. He played with everyone from big Latin artists like Tito Puente, Oscar de Leon, and a lot of really the greats. You know what I mean? Who are well known in the Latin community for salsa and merengue. So that's pretty much how I got started, because I'd be at my grandparents' house, and my grandfather would tell me, get on the piano and press this note right here. And, you know, when he's trying to, you know, tune instruments and kind of get everybody who's there working with him to you know, kind of come together and tune their instruments and stuff. And that's pretty much how I got started. I just started touching the piano, and it all just came out from that point on. It's like, it's almost like God spoke to me and told me, this is what you need to do.
Right. I noticed that you worked with multiple big names in the industry, and the 90s was my time. It was my time.
Oh yeah, all of
them. Yes. What is your take on R&B then and now?
You know, it's so much. There's two different things. There's mainstream, what you hear on the radio, what you see on TV, and then there's that you know, that's the underground stuff. You'll find a lot of the good stuff underground, because there's still a lot of really great R&B artists out here. There's people like Anthony Hamilton that's still out here beating up the road, you know, and her and Erykah Badu, and there's so many people that are still making music. They're still current. They're still, you know, moving and shaking. There's Jasmine Sullivan. There's a lot of great singers. You know what I mean? You know, I think we probably titled R&B. We've given that title R&B to music that probably really isn't R&B.
Okay.
I think that's probably what has happened. Especially with the switch up on how a lot of white artists have taken the claim to say that they're R&B artists now. So now we have so many mix-ups. You got rappers who sing a little, sing a little bit with a little bit of melody. Now they're considered R&B artists. Then you have white artists who are doing something that's really not R&B, but they're considering it R&B, maybe because it may have some trap drums or something under it. But you know, but if we're going to the true essence of what R&B is, you know, it's great songwriting, stories, things that touch your heart, background vocals, real music, climaxes, bridges, harmonies, breakdowns, you know, songs that make you cry, songs that make you think, make you fall in love, songs you want to hear when you're graduating, songs you want to hear at a funeral. You know, those, to me, that's the core of what R&B is. And there's still some of that stuff out there. You know, you got Tank, there's a lot of artists that are still trying to keep it alive, you know, so shout out to them and kudos to all of them.
Yeah, shout out to all of them. You named some really big names there. And so you work with Casey and JoJo on Crazy. And recently, if I'm not mistaken, there was a 10-year anniversary. Is that correct? Am I right? Let's talk about that, and let's talk about how that connection was made, and you writing the song, and how that all came together.
Oh man, that was an awesome situation. See, I was actually in California working with Casey and JoJo. I was doing I guess you can call it a trio. It was a duets album for the late Aretha Franklin.
Oh.
Um, and we was doing a whole album where we were raising money for the prince of this African country called Swaziland. We was raising money for HIV awareness.
Mhm.
I was hired to produce a few tracks off of the album, and I flew out to Michael Jackson's studio where I recorded all of Casey and JoJo's parts, and I was actually in the piano room just tinkering around with a song that I came up with. I had the chorus and the first verse, but you know, that's all I had written at that point in time. And I was playing it, and KC walked in and said, "Who's that for?"
Oh, he heard it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Said, nobody really. I just a song that I've been, you know, kind of messing around with. And he said, you need to let JoJo sing that. We need that song. You need to finish that and get that to us. So after I went to Detroit, I left there, flew to Detroit, recorded Aretha Franklin's parts for the song that I did for the Prince of Swaziland.
Uh-huh.
I went back home to New York, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and get in the studio and finish this song for Casey and JoJo, and that's how it all happened. I just
Wow.
and
Well,
flew
they
back out to California, and you know, hey, it became a classic for many reasons, because the song not only was on their album titled X, which was their 10th year in the music industry, you know, and then also because it was the first single and the lead song for the movie Save the Last Dance, which was MTV's first motion.
love that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the X was the symbol. The X stood for their 10 years in the business, right? I want everybody to be clear with that, right?
At that point, yeah, when it first came out.
Yeah.
Now that 10 is now like 25, 30.
Yeah, way past. Yeah. So you work with names with like Janet Jackson, Tamar Braxton. I mean, tons of people in the business. How did you get your connections in doing that? I know that, you know, there's relationships that you have to build, but when you're trying to get into the business for all of the newbies and producing and composing, how do you make those connections? Is it who you know or the work you've done just speaks for itself?
It's a combination of all the above, you know. During that time period, especially, I had a really great relationship with a lot of the executives in the business. I was introduced to Sylvia Rohn and Merlin Bob from a really good friend of mine, Billy Lawrence, who I worked on her album with her. That was one of the first projects that I did with Elektra Records.
Right.
And through that relationship with Sylvia and Merlin, it kind of opened the doors for me to work with everybody. That's how I was able to work with LSG, with Silk, with Busta, with Janet, with Mista, with pretty much, you know, In Vogue, everything that I've done, you know, I pretty much was working right there. And then, you know, of course, you know, when you're hot, everybody's kind of like coming like, hey, we need one of the records. We need a record. We need you to produce. So then I started working at other labels. So DreamWorks was another label, working with Motown. I did a lot of work over at Motown, did a lot of work over at Universal. That's where Casey JoJo was.
Right.
So, you know, I was just kind of like working the whole system. I worked with Arista for a while, did some stuff with them because Aretha was at Arista, but I also did records for Next. And just so it just was just like it was a real big overflow of work, you know, that was just coming to me. And I'm very thankful and blessed for those opportunities, you know. The relationships definitely help keep it alive, you know, because I have real good relationships with the artists and their managers and people like that. So it you know, that's pretty much how it all happened.
Yeah, that matters. That matters. And all my kind of music. And what's so crazy is it's still relevant today. And I think I heard you on an interview. I can't remember who you were interviewing with, but you were saying that like Casey and JoJo, I think they don't have to make another song because everything they made is still relevant today. And it's still hot, it's still out there. So, but I want to ask you, how do people keep their tenure in the game? Because a lot of people and good people, good producers, good artists, they come in the business and then they're gone. What is the advice that you give in order to stay relevant and stay in the game, longer than just come and doing a couple of records and then you're gone, and really good people that's come and gone?
I think one of the things is understanding technology and staying up on it, because music is, especially the kind of music that we do, it involves a lot of technology. Like if I just showed you just a peek of what my studio looks like, it's technology everywhere in here. So,
yeah.
if you don't have a clue how to use a computer, drum machines, electronic devices, software, and programming, then it's going to be almost difficult for you to stay alive in this game, because everything involves technology. I mean, you not only do you have to know how to use the instruments, but then you have to know how to do things like man your social media and email, and and send text messages, and it's totally different. So there's some people that are like anti all of the technology, and those people really tend to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of shows their age in their place,
right,
and where they were in music and where they are right now. I think for me, and I've always been a technology person, even from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one with video cameras, and I was always documenting time. I was the one with cell phones when no one else had cell phones. I was the one with all kinds of gadgets and stuff. I was one of the first people to also use Pro Tools, which is the software that everyone uses now. I did Silk's album on Pro Tools, when people weren't even using it.
I was talking to Jackie B, and we were discussing, and she was saying, well, a lot of people come into the game now, and they want to just say, be just new, and this is all about the new stuff. What do you say about still having to incorporate some of that old school stuff into this new game? Because right now it's about streaming and numbers.
I think one of the biggest survival tools that I would give as a note for all the young cats that's up and coming is to get outside and get in front of each other. They've gotten to the point where all they're doing is emailing each other vibes, and the emails are going back and forth. And it's different when you're in the same room with an individual. When you're in the same room, you're feeding off of the energy amongst each other. You're both you're both writing the song together, and it's a gathering of the mind, the spirits, everything. It's a different vibe. It's a different kind of collaboration whenever you're right there in the same room, as opposed to sending, basically notes back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
And also I would say, learning how to play instruments, like really learning how to play a piano.
That's a good one.
Mastering it, like mastering it. Like learn a guitar, learn a piano, learn how to play the drums, and incorporate that along with all of the digital stuff that we have at our fingertips, and not just rely upon the easiest way to create. Like use some of the things that's going to require more of your body and your soul, your own personal feeling and emotion, and you can get that with a piano or a guitar, or with drums, or other instruments. But it's hard to get that human feeling when all you're relying upon is the computer. Yeah. The computer's correcting your notes when you're singing. It's correcting your notes when you're playing. It becomes so digital that it no longer becomes music. It becomes just, real stiff and robotic. And I think that's one of the things that we miss. Some of those bad notes are the notes that made us feel the song,
Wow. So let's talk about Johnny. You work with Johnny Gill, Gerald Levert, Keith Sweat. Tell me about that.
Oh man, and
that experience.
Oh, that was the kickoff. That's really what, kind of like, opened up extreme doors for me. LSG, Gerald Levert, with Johnny Gill, man. All I can say is I went to Elektra, the same people, Sylvia Rohn and Merlin Bob. I actually went to visit Merlin Bob to shop an artist who co-wrote the lyrics with me alongside with another writing partner of mine, Antoinette Roberson and Link. And I went up there to shop a demo for of Link, you know, and I cut his voice as the demo for my body.
Right.
And we went up there, and Merlin was like, I love the song, but I can't put Link out right now, but I can put the song out right away. We have a project right now. We're really at the end of the project, and we really need a really great first single, and I think that might be our first single, what you sitting on. And I was like, I'm with it, you know what I mean? So I gave him the song. He sent it to Gerald Levert and Keith Sweat, Johnny. And believe it or not, Johnny was a little hesitant to do the song because he said he didn't want to do another song that had mine in it.
Oh yeah.
Below the hook, it had some words, some words that like my body, babe. And he was like, I don't want to do another my record. And mind you gotta keep in mind that we didn't write this song for LSG. It was one of the rare situations where we didn't write the song tailor-made for the artist. It was just a perfect fit.
Right.
Keith Sweat really didn't like the song as much. Gerald was the one who was like, nah, y'all are tripping. This song is a smash. This song is a hit. We gotta cut it. We gotta cut it. And so, you know, they had a lot of respect for Gerald. We went in the studio, we cut the record, and I think because the song was so brand new melodically, especially for them, because they were crooners who were used to doing melodies that were more laid back.
Mm-hmm.
I had them doing more syncopated, almost like a rapper type melody, you know, in the middle of the nighttime when your body's feeling for you, you know what I mean? And they were used to, oh baby, you know, so it was so laid back. So it was all brand new stuff. And but Gerald was always one who was game to try something new. And he allowed me to produce him, you know, even after LSG, and make more hit records doing the same thing, you know, just giving him something new, giving new flavor, you know. And but you know, that record was a great time, man. I remember every moment of it. Like I remember the first time meeting Keith, the first time recording with him, the laughter moments. I remember there was really no hardships in creating that record. It was really easy. It was laid back, and it was a great testament to what type of gentlemen they are in the studio, how professional they are as singers. And Johnny had just got off of the New Edition tour. Like literally, he was just on the tour and came straight from touring straight into the studio to cut his parts. And what I do love is that Gerald, Keith, and Johnny always were in the same room together, even when I wasn't cutting the other person's part. They were always there together, which shows you that, you know, that collaboration of everybody being in the room, even if they weren't going to be on the microphone that day, they still was there to give energy, input, and just show love, you know what I mean, to, you know, kind of just help the vibe get recorded.
Let's talk about some other collaborations, some other works that you've done. Now, you can sing. I just heard you, and I knew that. I think you were in a group before.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
I was in a group earlier on in my career. The group's name was Protege, and matter of fact, one of the gentleman I was telling you about, Link, he was a member in the group. Had another good friend of mine who still real close and dear friend to me, Alton Landry, who went by Josie was his nickname in the group, and there was another guy in the group named Bobby, and we were Protege, and we were all songwriters, singers, dancers, and we were just, you know, trying to get on. And the first deal we had was with a gentleman named Dave DeBerry, who signed us, and he kind of developed us and really believed in us. He actually bought me the instruments, my first real instruments, the same instruments that I used to make all of my hit records. later down in, years afterwards. And I think from after we got out of our deal with Dave, we got signed with Eddie F.
Mhm.
And Eddie F is a big producer from that ran a label, The Untouchables, who had Intro and Pete Rock, CL Smooth, and they were responsible for a lot of Mary's earlier hits and so many other people, Heavy D and the Boys, just just a whole bunch of classics. But I was blessed enough to be a part of that situation, being signed with him, and we didn't get to put out an album, but I did learn a lot. I learned a lot about the process of producing and songwriting, and years later, it paid off. It helped me develop my muscle.
Yeah. So Delite, tell me at what point did you say, I think I made it. I think I'm there. And let me say this, I know that we always have to stay learning. We can always grow in everything we do. But at what point did you was like, I think I've done it. I'm there.
I think I may have probably thought I made it after the first hit record.
Yeah.
The real moment of clarity for me was probably 10, 15 years into it. Because when I took a break and the records were still being played and the checks were still coming, and I was able to still take care of my wife and kids with the money that I was making from music that I did 15 years before, that's what let me know that I made it. You know what I mean? Because now I knew that I didn't have to do anything other than just continue to live in my passion.
Wow. I love that. I want you to, what advice do you give to these guys like my son trying to get in the business about the hard work and the rejections and the no's and the, let's talk about that.
Oh, you're gonna get a million no's, but you gotta work your way up to the yes. You know what I mean? That one yes can change your whole entire life. All it takes is one hit. It doesn't take 2, 3, or 4. It just needs that one record can open the door. And you just got to be ready. I think that when it takes time for you to get there, it gives you more time to be more prepared. You know what I mean? And as long as you've been continuously making songs, continuously writing, continuously learning your craft and developing into a much better artist, because I think a lot of times artists and producers and songwriters, they may catch a hit early in their beginnings, but they weren't ready. They go out on the road, they can't do a live show, they don't know how to play the instruments live.
Right.
Understand, little things like media training, just little things that make the difference of what separates people from being artists and being stars.
Yeah.
I think that part is probably what I would focus on. Is just just stay focused, just stay in your craft. Keep on surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals that are trying to achieve the same goal, and learn the business. Yeah, read as much stuff you can, about the business, and create a good team. People that you can trust. Keep those people around you, and the rest will come. The rest will follow. It's just part of it.
I like that. What do you say? What makes Delite's? What sets you apart from the rest of the producers, other composers, other engineers? Like, what is your unique thing that you think separates you?
I think the fact that a lot of the producers from my era were a lot of them were producers, but they weren't like real songwriters. They weren't like lyricists. They weren't singers. They weren't musicians. They were either just a producer or producer musician only, or maybe someone was just a lyricist, or maybe someone was just an artist. And when you kind of understand, how to engineer, how to write, the music, how to record the vocals, how to create the whole entire package, and also understanding the business of it also, because I shopped all of my records. I was right in front of all of my business.
Yeah.
I didn't have any management. It was just basically myself and my attorney that handled all the business for my entire career. So I think that in itself is what separates me. And then maybe sonically, I would say that the way I did vocals, the way we recorded vocals was very unique. And it's probably one of the things that people are extremely intrigued by. Like when we did stuff like Meeting in My Bedroom for Silk, just the way the vocals came out, the vocals were very new and different, so it always sounded big, almost like a choir.
I loved it. Yeah.
Right in your face,
Yeah.
That's probably my main traits.
Okay, that's good. A lot of people say to build a team, make sure for sure that you have an entertainment lawyer. But how do you go about building a team? Say, for instance, you don't have a family, a musically inclined family. They don't know, they're not interested in that. How do you go about, because the trust in people around you is, that's kind of hard to do. What do you tell someone that's trying to build a team?
Well, definitely from like finding a legal counselor to help you with your paperwork. That's probably the easiest part, because all you have to do is research. You can Google people, you can Google your favorite artists, and then Google who their attorneys are, and then you can kind of shop around that way to find out who's representing who. If you see someone that has their business intact and you feel like, wow, Jennifer Lopez seems to always have her business on point. I want to know who manages her. I want to know who represents her. It's there. All you have to do is Google it. I think people are more intrigued with gossip and trash, that they're not really researching the things that really matter, the things that can really elevate their life and their career. And I spent more time trying to figure out, who I need to have in my circle, and I've had the same attorney from the beginning of my career, still to this day.
That's awesome.
I have the same co-producer partner, the same co-writers, the same people, the only thing that really has changed is that we're older, we're smarter, we're wiser. And I have some, other young artists that I work with now, and kind of like, raising them up into understanding, how to do it the right way so they can have some staying power.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for being here with us. Before we get out of here, like I could keep you forever, so I'm gonna go ahead.
I'm yours. I'm here.
Yeah, it's just all interesting to me, especially when you have a child trying to come into this business. Like if it was my choice, I wouldn't allow him in there. So let me ask you this. Let's talk about this. A lot of people I talk about is like saying that the business is really grimy. It's a really messy business, and of course, if you don't know the business side of it, that can be a problem too. Have you had any experiences where like you had bad contracts in the beginning, or you had bad experiences where it was really grimy? If you did, what was it and how did you combat that?
I think for the most part, I didn't have a whole lot of drama. I think my drama went way before I even made my first hit record. Like all of my earlier, probably when I was, in my group, when we were, before we even got signed, to anyone, like that's when we made all of our biggest mistakes. But by the time we got to Dave DeBerry, who signed us, the first person that signed us, we had pretty good handlers. Like the people that were signing us, they really cared about us. They really wanted us to win. I would say that we were just very blessed in that regards. I think a lot of it comes with just, we didn't make it overnight. You know what I mean? So we didn't just get an opportunity because some A&R saw that I had a whole bunch of streaming numbers, and they called me up and they trying to blow me up and hand me a big check and take all of the future profits, you know what I mean? But we didn't have that. So we had a lot of time to learn the business. We had a lot of time to to find the right people to put in our to put it in our circle of trust, and that's probably why we don't have any, you know, I mean, our biggest problems probably were things that didn't have nothing to do with music. It was, you know, friends and family.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
probably had more problems with that than we did with people that we were dealing with in the inside.
Yeah.
I didn't really have a. I'm being honest. I wish I could
Good.
describe to it. I've seen a lot of big problems. I did see the downfall of. I mean, the problems that I had in the bigger picture of things, like from they didn't get much. You know what I mean? In the bigger picture, you know, what they got was so small that they would have wished that they didn't mess up, because they would have been able to eat from the bigger part of the pie. You know what I mean? So the bigger pieces of the pie, they just got a crumb, you know, in respects to who I actually became, and the records and the legacy that I was able to build.
Yeah. You talked about streaming. That's like the big deal now. Your numbers, your numbers, your numbers.
Yeah.
How do you win? I mean, okay, yes, I have the numbers, and like you said, a label's going to come and you got the numbers. I'm gonna give you this big check, but in the long run, you're going to always have to owe them. How do you get past all that? Do you stay independent and go past? Do you say independent, or do you say a label?
Well, there's two sides to that. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna tell you, this cast is starting out right now, that are new, they're newbies, but they're getting their paper. They're getting paid, like they getting stupid money. You know what I mean? Like they get paid like more than you could ever imagine. You know, they get millions of dollars to do very little in comparison to maybe what a Stevie Wonder had done, or maybe what a Teddy Riley had done. They're like making crazy money right now, you know, from little things that they're doing. But I think when you're a well-rounded individual, you'll learn how to, you know, diversify your business. You'll if you're just trying to just stay in the studio and just be a producer, then you'll probably in any era you would have had a hard time, because you know you have to be a songwriter, you have to be a music producer, you need to be a musician. If you're a musician, you can go on the road with artists when you know when things get shaky. If you're an engineer, you can mix projects for people when money gets low and funny. You know, you just find ways within your talent to stay afloat. You know, so if I'm giving an example, if I was a journalist, I'd learn how to work the camera also. You know what I mean? If I was a journalist, I'd, you know, learn how to, you know, do more edit. You know what I mean? Maybe I could just be someone's editor for some money, you know what I mean? And still write my own stuff, you know, until I'm back on my feet and in a place where I can concentrate solely on what I really enjoy doing the most. But, you know, you can't, there's more than one way to make money in this thing, you know, and you got to understand all those different avenues. Streaming is just one. Streaming is one. You still got live performance. You still got radio. You still got TV. You can get your music added to movies, video games, you know, TV commercials. There's so many different streams of income.
Yeah.
You know, and my music has been in all the above. You know, there's not one part that I didn't play. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I believe my wife always says this: crumbs make a pie. You know what I mean? So I may make $10 over here, $100, $300 over here,
That's right.
plus that 2 and that 10, that's 3, 4, 5, 510.
That's right.
That's the check. You know what I mean? So, you know,
Love
what I mean?
it.
If you do that enough, you know, you'll get to a place where you'll be like, okay, I'm making, you know, thousands of dollars every month from what I love to do. You know, you can't make it. You can't live off of one hit record only. You need a lot of songs be written and put out into the universe for people to be able to stream and play on the radio and sample. There's other things too, you know what I mean? People sample your records, you know. They've sampled my records. I've had Plies have sampled my record. I've had let's see, Plies. I've had Two Chains.
Oh,
Had
okay.
Pretty Ricky. I've had a lot of people redo uh, uh, my record Tank. You know, I've had so many people do interpolations of my songs.
And
And
how does that work? Do they call you and say, "Hey, I want to do this"?
yeah, most of the time they do, and sometimes they just put it out, and then you just have to go get them.
Okay, I get that. I get that.
but
Oh,
but it's there, you know. I mean, it's your money, you know. And when you handle your business, you know, it's not a hard fight, you know. It's not a hard fight. It's easy.
what is going on with Delight currently? Like, what are you working on now? Is something coming up? Were you big? What's going on?
Right now, I'm currently working on a SlowJamKing album. I'm doing a 4-part EP, four volumes. It's like really strictly slow jams.
Mm.
Trying to get that feeling back out there again. You know, I'm working with some of the artists that you guys already know, and then some new cats. And I don't want to spill all the beans and give it all away, but it's hotness, and we're literally mixing everything right now. I'm at the final stages of everything, and I'm so ready to shoot the first and second video with one of the artists I'll tell you that I'm working with. Her name is Savannah, and she's so incredible. Man, she's a breath of fresh air. She's very young, but she can sing somebody up under the table, man. Like she has an awesome voice, and she just totally gets the '90s, and she understands the
Correct.
future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she understands that what we're doing is not for now, it's for forever. It's for tomorrow and beyond. So I'm just thankful to work with artists like her, and you know, and also to still be in you know, in the trenches with the people that I've always made hit records with, that understand, that you know, are entrusting me. So this project is very special to me because it's my own personal project. It's like a Quincy Jones Back on the Block album,
Yeah, yeah,
like DJ Khaled
yeah.
featuring a whole bunch of artists. So that's what I'm doing with this project. Except, you know, it's going to be good in music, make people feel good, make people want to, you know, hold their wife's hand
Yeah.
again, make these are records gonna make gentlemen want to go and buy some flowers on the way home from work. You know what I mean? So
I can't wait.
trying to bring that love back. You
I
know.
can't wait to hear it. I know it's going to be everything. And so it's going to be streaming on all platforms. How do you distribute that?
Definitely. It's going to be distributed on all platforms. So, and I will have everything on my social media for everyone to be able to find out. You can catch me on Instagram at Delite, the Slow Jam King, on Facebook, Delite, Slow Jam King, and that's DELITE, Slow Jam King, and also on Twitter, Delite, Slow Jam King, and Clubhouse, Delite, the Slow Jam King. It's real easy to find me. I'm not too hard to find on social media. But pretty much that's pretty much going to be the direction I'm going for a second. You know, I got some other things too. I got some instrumental albums, and I'm doing some jazz albums, some
Wow.
albums that are, you know, very eclectic and different. They really don't have a genre per se.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just trying to restore '90s music and give what I call the new '90s R&B. I'm trying to put that back in the hands of the youngins, so they can see that there's a way to have background vocals and still do what they're doing, and throw a couple of other little things in there. It's still a way to put like a keyboard line, a synth line, you know, where it shows that there's a musician playing on the song, and it's not
Yeah.
just beat driven, it's musically driven.
Right. Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, I love everything about everything you did. Everything. I'm a fan, Delight. I'm a fan. And so I wish you guys the best on what you have getting ready to come out and everything you got going on. Black Link Magazine does support you. I can't wait to have you featured in the magazine. So I appreciate you being here. And we'll talk more about that, the magazine piece of it, if you will. Other than that, we're going to get out of here for now. I appreciate you guys. Go out and follow him if you want to keep up with what's going on. He is in Clubhouse on Tuesdays for sure. I do see you there. So, yeah. Tuesday, what time is it on Tuesdays? The Clubhouse?
Eastern Standard Time. It's at 8 p.m. So yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then If you're on the East Coast, if you're on the if you're Central Time, you're 7 o'clock. If you're like California, which is I believe is Pacific time. Let's see, I think it's 3 hours behind, so 8, 7, 6 o'clock.
5 o'clock. So if it's 8
yeah.
your time, 5 their time, 7 Central. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, we'll be following you, and I can't wait to hear from you again. You guys, we're going to get out of here for now. In the meantime, respect yourself, respect each other. God bless. God bless.
God bless you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.